Chapter 41. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Sis, check it out. This is the basic body forging technique. Watch me, and pay attention. Tian stood in the courtyard, demonstrating the technique for his sister. Yu took her studies seriously. In a little over a week, she'd completely mastered the basics. After that, Yu could practice on her own. At first, Tian didn't give her any fierce beast blood. He wanted her to build a solid foundation first, at least get to the level of martial apprentice, before using beast blood to help her along. While Yu was training, Tian didn't waste any time. After his recent training efforts, his strength had increased again, reaching 35,000 gene. With his high-level strength talent, that was equivalent to 350,000 gene of power, that kind of progress would make most martial artists jealous, but Tian still wasn't satisfied. He knew he only had a high-level talent. How much faster were those with top-tier or even higher talents progressing? So, he needed to level up as fast as possible and copy another talent to improve himself. Sooner or later, he'd be the most talented person on Earth, maybe even in the whole galaxy. Soon, in a few days, I'll be able to copy another talent, Tian said with anticipation. One day, Tian headed into the wilderness to hunt another batch of mid-level fierce beasts. His training required their blood. Mid-level beast blood was incredibly rare. Even the black market rarely had it, and when it did, it was snatched up by martial artists from the big families. Tian could occasionally buy some, but it wasn't nearly enough. As a high-level talent, he refined the blood super fast. He needed way more than other elite martial artists. His stash was long gone, and what he bought wasn't enough, so he had to go into the wilderness to replenish his supply. But walking down the street, he noticed a lot of warriors moving in groups, loaded down with bags and supplies. The thing was, they were all strangers, not from the Linhai base. There are a lot of elite warriors here. Tian looked at one team and saw more than a dozen elite fighters, and there was more than one team like that. He'd seen at least 3 just walking to the edge of town. They must be from another base, Tian guessed. With so many martial artists coming to Linhai at once, something big must be going down. The Linhai and Iron Tooth bases traded, but they wouldn't send this many elite warriors. Plus, these weren't trade caravans, they looked like they were moving in. Tian didn't dwell on it. He left the base to hunt. Meanwhile, at the Lin family estate, Lin Wanli, Lin Zhe, and several other grand martial artists were all frowning. "Big brother, is the news solid?" Lin Zhe asked. Lin Wanli sighed. "It came from our contact at the Iron Tooth base, so it has to be true. I always thought the Iron Tooth base was being too generous, helping our Linhai base so selflessly. Turns out I was right. They're desperate and want to move into our Linhai base." When he'd first heard the news, he didn't believe it, but after checking, it was confirmed. The Iron Tooth base was a medium-sized base with 2 grandmasters and dozens of grand martial artists, but they were near the bottom in terms of power. Now, a huge group of fierce beasts had been spotted nearby. The leader was about to evolve into a king-level beast. If it succeeded, the horde would grow, and the Iron Tooth base would be the first to be attacked. If they could stop the evolution, the base might be saved, but the Iron Tooth base was no match. They'd asked for help from other bases, but nobody was willing to lend a hand to save their people. The Iron Tooth base was preparing to relocate to the nearest coastal base, but they knew the Linhai base might refuse. So they planned this whole trade cooperation thing. The other Lin family grand martial artists were worried. If the Iron Tooth base moved in, it would mess up the power structure of Linhai, and the Lin family might lose control. "Big brother, why don't we just refuse to let them in?" Lin Zhe suggested. "We can't." Lin Wanli shook his head. "We already signed a contract. If we break it, they'll have an excuse to come after us. They're using this trade thing to send in more warriors bit by bit. It's trade in name only, but they're here to stay. We can't drive them out. Once a ton of Iron Tooth warriors and regular people move in, Linhai won't be ours anymore." Everyone thought about it, but they were stuck. "We'll just have to play it by ear." Lin Wanli said. That evening, Tian returned with materials for mid-level fierce beasts and a lot of their blood. He asked Foam Wolf and the others what was going on and learned that the Iron Tooth base was sending tons of people to settle in Linhai. They weren't doing business, just renting houses and villas, like they wanted to live there forever, and in the next few days, the news broke, the people of the Iron Tooth base were leaving their base and moving to Linhai. They were even building houses on the outskirts of the Linhai base, planning to expand the town to fit more people. The Lin family couldn't stop it. The land outside Linhai wasn't under their control, it was the wilderness. The Iron Tooth people could build there without breaking any rules, and the reason for the exodus was out. A huge horde of fierce beasts was threatening the Iron Tooth base. When he heard, Tian was stunned. A medium-sized base, with 2 grandmasters, was falling apart. The Linhai base was lucky to be in a safe zone, but if the Iron Tooth base fell, the beast horde might come to Linhai one day, and then Linhai would also face destruction. I have to get stronger, and fast. Only strength can keep me and my sister safe, Tian told himself urgently, so, he trained harder, and his strength increased faster than ever. One day, he was researching fierce beasts, looking for one with a unique ability to copy. Suddenly, a file caught his eye. Black Wolf Leopard. Chapter 42. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Black Wolf Panther might be a low-level beast, but it's faster than most mid-level ones. Word around the Linhai base is that someone spotted one nearby, but these things are so quick that even skilled martial artists couldn't keep up, so they gave up hunting it. Little Chiba Forest, Tian muttered, looking over the intel. That's where they hang out. He didn't know much about the place, just that it was huge, stretching for miles. The part near Linhai was just one small section. It's located about 11 miles west of the base, but not many fighters bother going there. The outer areas are mostly filled with ordinary wild animals. Venture a few miles deeper, and you start running into some serious beasts, even mid and high-level ones. The further you go, the more dangerous it gets, but these beasts rarely leave the forest, so they don't really bother the Linhai base. My training slowed down, Tian thought. Little Chiba Forest seems like a good place to step it up a bit. If I can find one of those Black Wolf Panthers, great. If not, maybe I can copy a useful skill while I'm there and train for a while. He'd been wanting to leave anyway. Linhai was a small base, making it hard to copy stronger talents or find better resources. It was slowing him down. He used to worry about his sister, but she started cultivating too. The Mo family thread is gone. He just needs to hire some bodyguards for her, and she'll be fine. Who to hire, though? Then it hit him. Wind Wolf. Wind Wolf is the captain of the Wind Wolf hunting squad. They mostly stick around the base, keeping the peace. They're a pretty strong group. They can handle most threats that aren't elite martial artists. He wouldn't need the whole squad guarding Yu all the time, just someone to watch over her and step in if she got into trouble. The Wind Wolf hunting squad has plenty of members. 1 or 2 warriors would do the trick. No biggie. So, Tian went to Wind Wolf and offered a dozen mid-level beast blood samples as payment. Wind Wolf, of course, agreed. Tian arrived at the Little Chiba Forest. As soon as he stepped inside, he saw towering trees, some rising hundreds of feet into the air, their trunks 10 to 12 feet across. After walking a few hundred yards, he realized the reports were right. The outer areas were almost devoid of serious beasts, just wild animals. It was like the forest had a strict hierarchy. Wild animals stayed on the fringes, while fierce beasts lived deeper inside, unable to cross into each other's zones. Of course, that was just his guess. He ran for miles, passing countless giant trees, until he started seeing a few fierce beasts. Then he stopped. He was in their territory now. Time to be careful. High-level beasts were rare, but powerful ones with special talents were beyond his current abilities. For days, Tian searched for the Black Wolf Panther, but no luck. He did, however, take down a few mid-level beasts and collected plenty of their blood. So, he wouldn't have to worry about that for a while. If only I had a wider range of perception, maybe I could find one of those panthers sooner, he thought. As he walked, he noticed what looked like leopard or wolf tracks, not just 1 or 2, but a whole pack. Black wolf panthers are sort of like wolves, but also leopards. The claw marks on the ground look like theirs. Maybe it's a pack of them, but regardless, he had to check it out. Tian activated his speed and followed the tracks. After running for a few miles, he stopped. He sensed a strong surge of yuan energy. A fight up ahead, but he grew cautious. The chances of running into another human were slim, so it had to be a beast. Beast fights were normal. There were too many of them to survive peacefully. Even humans fight each other. He moved forward a few hundred yards. The sounds of battle grew louder, along with some strange cries. He saw a clearing, with countless trees knocked over. About 1,000 black wolf panthers were attacking a gorilla, but the gorilla had the upper hand. High-level beast. And not just any high-level beast, one strong enough to take on a peak-level great martial artist. Tian didn't dare breathe too loud. He hid himself as best he could, even using his shadow talent to blend into the shadows of the trees. This gorilla was as strong as the old man he saw the other day, way stronger than him now. He couldn't win. Plus, he was slower. If he fought it, he wouldn't be able to escape. His shadow talent wouldn't fool a high-level beast. He'd have to rely on his healing talent to survive, but if he couldn't run, the gorilla would just keep pounding on him until he was dead. Best not to mess with that thing. Tian shifted his attention from the gorilla to the black wolf panthers. They were his target, but they were in bad shape. Hundreds had been killed in the fight, but they kept attacking the gorilla fearlessly. Geez, these things aren't too bright. If they can't win, they should just run, Tian thought, shaking his head at their stubbornness. Then, he spotted something that caught his eye. No, someone. It should be called the golden wolf leopard, because the animal's fur was all gold, and it looked like it had a noble bloodline, and it was noble. It was a mid-level beast, and its speed was faster than the gorilla's. The gorilla couldn't even catch it, but the golden wolf leopard couldn't break through the gorilla's defenses. Hey, this golden wolf leopard must have a higher speed talent than the others. Otherwise, it wouldn't be so bold. An intermediate beast is faster than the peak of the high-level fierce beast. That's crazy. Is it even a high-speed talent? Tian gasped. If he could copy that talent, his strength would skyrocket. Chapter 43. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tian had been lying low, waiting for the fight to wrap up. About half an hour later, the black wolf leopard numbers were down to a couple hundred, the ground littered with their corpses. That kind of bloodbath had to have crippled the pack, but they still wouldn't back down. After all that fighting, the gorilla was gassed, its speed and power shot, and its reactions were sluggish. Then, it happened, the gorilla howled. Tian saw it clear as day. The golden wolf leopard had waited for the gorilla to slow down, then pounced, raking its claws across the gorilla's eye before it could react. Blinded in one eye, the gorilla panicked and bolted, but it couldn't outrun the golden wolf leopard, and the other black wolf leopards swarmed it, heedless of the danger. Before the gorilla knew it, the golden wolf leopard had blinded its other eye. Now totally blind, the gorilla was as good as dead. The black wolf leopards piled on, sinking their teeth and claws into every wound, overwhelming it with sheer numbers. Finally, the gorilla went down, its life snuffed out. The black wolf leopard clan had lost over 1,000 members in the fight, but they'd taken out a high-level beast. Whether it was worth it, who knew? Tian figured the win was all down to the golden wolf leopard. It was strong, almost a high-level beast itself, and lightning fast. Without that speed, it never could have clawed out the gorilla's eyes, no matter how many black wolf leopards there were. All right, my turn, Tian said, a little hyped. He wasn't scared of those black wolves and leopards, not even the golden one. The gorilla had lost because it was worn out and had its eyes ripped out. Tian was different. He had a killer healing power. Even if he took a beating, he'd bounce back fast. He wasn't worried about getting taken out by the golden wolf leopard. Whoosh! Tian charged in, instantly taking out a black wolf leopard. The golden wolf leopard, busy tearing into the gorilla's corpse, caught sight of Tian and roared. This was its turf, and anything that wandered in was as good as dead. It went straight for him. Tian reeked of weakness compared to a gorilla, and the golden wolf leopard figured it could take him out with one swipe. Damn, that's fast. Tian couldn't even track the golden wolf leopard's movements. All he felt was a searing pain as a claw tore across his body. Heal. In a blink, his wounds closed, good as new. The golden wolf leopard, not far off, looked at Tian, stunned. It had ripped him open, seen his guts spilled out. How was he back in one piece? Too bad. Tian said to the golden wolf leopard with a sigh. He tried to check the thing's talents in that instant, but the golden wolf leopard was too fast, blowing past his reaction time. He'd only gotten a glimpse and hadn't managed to copy its talent. He had to admit, though, the golden wolf leopard's talent was unreal, even scarier than he'd thought. Turns out, the thing wasn't just any golden wolf leopard, it was a golden dragon leopard, species, golden leopard, bloodline talent, top tier, speed talent, top tier, endurance talent, mid-tier, healing talent, basic. That mid-tier endurance was what let the golden dragon leopard go toe-to-toe with the gorilla for so long. It had serious stamina. That's one hell of a setup. Top-tier bloodline talent means this thing's gonna be a top-level beast if it survives. And with all those talents, it'll be slaughtering grandmasters left and right once it grows up. Tian thought he wanted to take it out right then and there, but he was still way weaker. All he could do was hope his healing could keep him alive. The golden dragon leopard came at him again, and once again, Tian couldn't react. His neck nearly snapped, but luckily, his healing kicked in and pulled him through. Finally, he managed to copy the top-tier speed. Gotta hold out. If it gets a hold of my head, I'm done for. Tian thought. He pulled out his knife and started slashing, shadow strike, forming a wall of knife energy around himself. The blade kept the body safe, and the attack the knife made was enough to threaten the golden dragon leopard. No matter how fast it was, it couldn't break through that wall. Any attempt to get through would end up hurting it more. Fall back. Fall back. Fall back. Tian kept retreating. The golden dragon leopard tried to attack a few times, but each time it ran into the blade, almost shattering its claws. Knife skills can really shut down speed. I never would have gotten away otherwise, Tian said. After running a ways, he noticed the golden dragon leopard had stopped chasing and gave up. Phew, finally shook it. Lucky it gave up, or I would have been dead. Shadow strike is too draining to use non-stop. Tian sighed. He had to admit, he'd been a bit cocky. He'd thought he had nothing to fear from the golden dragon leopard, but he'd underestimated it. Watching and doing were two different things. If he didn't have a few tricks up his sleeve, he wouldn't have made it out alive. But hey, the risk had paid off. Top-tier speed talent, ha ha ha. Once I fuse this, will I still need to be scared of that golden silk dragon leopard? I won't even have to be scared of a top-level beast like a gorilla. Tian said, brimming with confidence. He found a towering tree and carved a hole in it to make a small wooden house. He sealed the entrance and began to fuse with the speed talent. Let's do this. Chapter 44. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Every talent fusion is a transformation for Tian. It's painful, sure, but the payoff makes it worthwhile. Having already fused several talents, this time, merging the top-tier speed talent wasn't as agonizing as he'd expected. Soon, it was over. Tian checked his stats immediately. It was a habit, and always the most exciting part. Name, Tian, cultivation talent, high, speed talent, top, knife talent, medium, shadow talent, elementary, healing talent, top, strength talent, high. A huge grin spread across Tian's face as he took in his top-tier healing and speed talents. He couldn't help but wish all his talents could reach that level. Time to test out this top speed. Tian walked out from under the giant tree, activated his speed talent, and took off. Whoosh. In an instant, he covered 100 meters. He felt a kind of invisible barrier break in the air. Sonic speed. The thought flashed through his mind. The speed of sound is how fast sound travels, about 340 meters per second. And Tian. He wasn't just at the speed of sound, he was way faster, at least twice as fast. After repeated tests, Tian finally got a handle on his new speed, 10 times the speed of sound. That's 3,400 meters per second, up from 170. So, this top speed talent multiplies my speed by 20. He realized the 20-fold increase was insane. It ignored cultivation levels entirely. Tian figured that even a great martial artist among humans probably maxed out at 5 or 6 times the speed of sound. He'd already blown past that, and if he ever reached the level of a great martial artist himself, his speed would be ridiculous. At this rate, I can handle even the strongest great martial artist. Tian grinned. He'd been nowhere near the peak strength of a great martial artist before. Now, this top-tier speed talent had closed the gap. Copying powerful talents was his shortcut to quick power-ups. But opportunities like this were rare. He'd needed luck and guts to copy the golden silk dragon leopard's speed talent. Without it, he wouldn't have made this leap in strength. Time to deal with that golden dragon leopard. Tian wasn't scared anymore. He was nearly as fast as the leopard. Sure, its higher cultivation might push it to 12 or 13 times the speed of sound, but the difference between 10 and 12 or 13 wasn't huge. He could react. Besides, Tian had a major advantage, his top-tier healing talent. Plus, his attack power was higher than a typical great martial artist, way higher than the golden silk dragon leopards. Overall, Tian had the edge. He wasn't afraid. He retraced his steps. Found them. They're still here. He spotted a pack of black wolves and leopards surrounding the golden silk dragon leopard. It was asleep, next to the mangled remains of a gorilla. Only half the corpse was left. It must be digesting the gorilla. Guess eating corpses of powerful beasts boosts a monster's strength, just like we humans refine beast blood to get stronger. Tian guessed, if the leopard fully absorbed the gorilla, it would definitely get a power boost. Maybe not enough to jump to the next level, but still significant. Tian didn't want to give it the chance. Golden dragon leopard. Let's go another round. Tian jumped out and roared. The sound was deafening, instantly waking the leopard. Its snarl and murderous glare screamed, "Human, you're dead." Whoosh! The leopard vanished. If Tian hadn't merged the top-tier speed talent, he wouldn't have even seen it move. But now he did. Just as the leopard's claws were about to connect, Tian flashed sideways, dodging in the nick of time. Then, his knife came around. The top speed talent juiced everything, including his reactions and hand speed, making his attack lightning fast. Thwack. The leopard wasn't expecting it. Tian's shadow kill attack sliced into its back. It was hurt. The golden dragon leopard leaped back, staring at Tian with wide eyes, as if asking, "How are you so fast?" It remembered easily overpowering Tian before. If it hadn't been for Tian's tricky sword aura, it could have toyed with him. Now, Tian dodged its attack and kept pace. It had never seen a creature weaker than itself that was so damn fast. The golden dragon leopard, refusing to back down, charged again. Shadow kill. Shadow kill. Shadow kill. Tian kept launching shadow kill attacks, each one finding its mark. The leopard's attack power wasn't high level yet, so it couldn't match Tian. Every clash meant more wounds. Luckily, its bones were strong. Tian's weapon wasn't the best. If Tian had a decent weapon, he could probably cut the leopard in half with one swing. After a dozen moves, the leopard was covered in blood, its strength clearly failing. The golden silk dragon leopard, originally determined to fight to the death, started to think about escaping. It didn't want to die. Whoosh! The leopard bolted, leaving its pack behind. Injured, slower than before, and you think you can run? Tian gave chase. After only 10 miles, Tian caught up and unleashed a brutal strike that nearly severed the leopard in two. The leopard collapsed nearby, barely breathing, with no hope of escape. Just as Tian was about to deliver the final blow, the golden dragon leopard did something shocking. It knelt and started bowing repeatedly. It was surrendering. Chapter 45. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Giving up already? Tian eyed the golden silk dragon leopard with curiosity, making sure not to let his guard down. He doubted the leopard was truly surrendering and might launch a sneak attack, even though its injuries made that unlikely. The golden dragon leopard nodded, understanding him. Tian knew some rare beasts were smart enough to understand human speech. They were uncommon, so he was surprised to meet one. I'm a little worried you might change your mind once you're healed. Tian said coolly. Suddenly, a faint light appeared on the leopard's forehead, piercing through the air and entering Tian's mind. Instantly, Tian's first thought was that he was under attack. Then, a childish voice echoed, "Master." That the voice sounded like a 3-year-old child, but Tian recognized it. "Golden dragon leopard, was that you?" Tian asked, surprised. "Yes, master." The golden dragon leopard nodded. Tian quickly understood the light was a soul offering. When a beast willingly surrendered, it sacrificed a piece of its soul as a sign of loyalty. If the human master died, the beast would also die. However, the beast's death wouldn't affect the human. The golden dragon leopard had surrendered to survive, seeing no shame in it. It wasn't human and figured living was the best option. Unexpectedly gaining a beast companion, Tian felt a bit overwhelmed but knew it was a good thing. The golden dragon leopard had top-tier blood, exceptional speed, decent endurance, and minor healing abilities. Its potential was remarkably high. Plus, the golden dragon leopard led a pack of fierce beasts. Having that kind of backing in Little Chiba Forest would be a huge advantage. "Golden leopard, do you have a name?" Tian asked. "No, master." The golden dragon leopard shook its head. "From now on, I'll call you Goldie." Tian decided. Goldie seemed thrilled with its new name, appearing to forget its injuries. Seeing Goldie's injuries, Tian quickly gave it some healing potion. Between the potion and its healing talent, Goldie healed quickly. Within an hour, Goldie fully recovered. Returning to its clan, Goldie ordered the black wolves and leopards not to attack Tian. Now, Tian truly had a pack of fierce beasts under his protection. "Hey, Goldie, do you know where any treasure is hidden?" Tian asked hopefully. Little Chiba Forest was huge and full of resources. Some treasures would be incredibly useful to warriors, like healing herbs or items that improve skills. Tian usually collected herbs and sold them on the black market during his hunts. But searching alone was slow, so he hadn't found anything truly great. But Goldie lived in the area and led a pack, so it had to know something. "Master, Goldie does know about a treasure. That's how I became different from the others. I ate it." Goldie explained. Tian got excited. He figured the treasure probably boosted talent, which was incredibly valuable. "Goldie, take me there." Tian ordered. Goldie didn't hesitate and led the way. That was the benefit of a beast acknowledging you as its master. Without that bond, a fierce beast like Goldie might not be so loyal. But now, it would be dedicated and considerate. Goldie didn't let the pack follow. It said the location was a secret known only to it, because it didn't want other golden dragon leopards rising to its level and challenging its leadership. After a while, Tian followed Goldie to an underground cave. After navigating a series of twisting tunnels, they arrived. In front of Tian was a small golden tree with a single fruit. The fruit was completely golden except for a few blue spots. "Master, there used to be 2 fruits, but I ate one. This one is the last. It's not ripe yet, so you can't eat it," Goldie warned. Tian nodded, his gaze fixed on the fruit. A strong desire swelled inside him. He had to eat that fruit. Could this fruit actually improve my talent? Tian wondered, but he could already constantly copy talents, so improving his own felt like a waste. Still, the craving was powerful, and he knew he'd regret not trying it. He hesitated. "Eat it." Tian finally decided. Even if it was a waste, he wouldn't regret it. As he grew stronger, he knew he'd find even better treasures. "Goldie, how long before you think this fruit will be ripe?" Tian asked the veteran. "About 20 days and nights, master." Goldie estimated, gesturing with its paws. 20 days. "Perfect, I'll stay here and train hard." Tian muttered. For the next 20 days, Tian focused on his training. With a constant supply of beast blood, he didn't have to worry about his progress. Goldie also hunted beasts and brought them back for Tian. As a result, Tian's training advanced at a rapid pace. 45,000 pounds of strength. Tian exclaimed, sensing his power. The rapid improvement was due to the countless beasts he consumed. He'd lost track of how much blood he'd taken in. Not even the richest families could afford this level of consumption. He glanced at the fruit on the golden tree. The last bit of blue was almost completely gold. It was about to ripen. The desire in Tian's heart grew stronger. Boom. Vital energy rushed into the golden fruit, helping it complete its transformation. Under the gaze of Tian and Goldie, the fruit finally ripened. Chapter 46. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tian stepped up and plucked the golden fruit. It was small enough to eat in one bite. He hesitated, then decisively swallowed it whole. A surge of energy flooded his body and mind, instantly knocking him unconscious. Unbeknownst to Tian, as he lost consciousness, tiny lights flickered deep within his mind. These lights were various colors, but at the center was a golden light, representing something supreme, noble, and unique. The gold color had nothing to do with the fruit itself. It was simply the same hue. If Tian could have seen this, he would have guessed these lights were markers of his talents, with the golden one representing his most important talent, copying. The golden fruit's energy surged towards the golden light, which immediately absorbed it. The golden light grew larger and brighter at a visible rate, its energy intensifying. It was evolving, transforming. I blacked out. Tian was surprised and a little scared. Luckily, he was safe here. If he'd passed out after eating the fruit somewhere dangerous, he might have been in serious trouble. He stood and saw Xiaojin lying nearby, waiting. Xiaojin, did you pass out when you ate your fruit? Tian asked. Yep, Jin replied honestly. And you didn't warn me? Tian rolled his eyes playfully. Master, you didn't ask. Xiaojin seemed a little wronged. Tian smiled. He couldn't really blame Xiaojin. Despite his intelligence, he wasn't human. Time to check my talents. Tian focused, and his talent list appeared before him. Human, Tian, cultivation talent, high, speed talent, top, knife talent, medium, shadow talent, elementary, healing talent, top, strength talent, high. Huh. My talents haven't changed. Tian was surprised and a little disappointed. He'd hoped the fruit would transform his talents. After all, it was clearly extraordinary, and it had instantly boosted Xiaojin to a top-tier bloodline talent. You'd think his high cultivation talent would easily upgrade to top tier. Maybe it boosted my other talents, Tian wondered, but a closer look showed that the others were the same as before. Then, he thoroughly examined his body and finally noticed something different. First, his spirit felt stronger, and he had mental power. His spiritual power could sense things within a 30-foot radius. It wasn't as good as a great martial artist's, which covered 60 feet, but it broke his previous limits. He'd never heard of anyone possessing spiritual power at the elite martial artist level, which was something to be proud of. But when he asked Xiaojin and learned that Xiaojin's spiritual power could cover 90 feet, he immediately felt deflated. Of course, Tian knew it was because Xiaojin's cultivation was more advanced. When he reached the peak of the elite martial artist realm, his spiritual power would naturally grow too. Beyond that, Tian noticed another change. His copying talent had a wider range. He could now view talents within a 150-foot radius, making it easier to check other people's or beasts' talents. But man, I'm bummed. Xiaojin eats the golden fruit and suddenly becomes awesome, but I only get spiritual power and a longer range for my copying talent. It's no comparison to Xiaojin's gains, Tian said, dejected. Still, a change was a change. And hey, it was a freebie, so no complaints. 10 days until I can copy a talent again. I'll stay for 10 more days before heading back, Tian decided. For the next 10 days, Tian and Xiaojin personally hunted fierce beasts, now targeting high-level ones instead of intermediate. According to Xiaojin, the Little Chiba Forest's fierce beasts were very territorial, and each area had its own overlord, making it easy to find high-level beasts. With their combined efforts, The high-level beasts were no match and were easily killed. They agreed that Tian would take the high-level beast's blood, while Xiao Jin would take the corpse. Soon, 10 days had passed. 1,600 units of high-grade beast blood. Enough for me to cultivate for a long time. Tian looked at the small pool of blood before him with satisfaction and excitement, but he quickly became distressed. There was too much beast blood, and he couldn't carry it all. His kettle was far too small to hold it, so he'd only be able to take a fraction of it. Man, storage bags would be so convenient. Tian sighed. Another day passed, and Tian's copying talent was available again. He was ready to copy Xiao Jin's endurance talent, not because he didn't want to copy others, but because he hadn't found anything better. Beasts were more likely to have talents than humans, but it was still hard to find one with special abilities. And even if he did, they were usually inferior or elementary talents, which he didn't want. Kim's medium endurance talent was, comparatively, more useful, but as Tian walked towards Xiao Jin, he froze. What? His retina showed Kim's talents, including the top speed talent. He was naturally familiar with this situation, which meant he could copy it. The key problem was that he hadn't touched Xiao Jin yet. Could it be? Tian's breathing quickened. He finally understood why the golden fruit hadn't transformed his other talents. It had, but he just hadn't realized it. His copying talent had transformed, evolved. That's right, copying talent is a talent in itself. Tian had an epiphany. Judging from the current situation, his copying talent had removed the restriction of needing physical contact. He could copy in the air. This was far more convenient than before. For example, when copying human talents, he sometimes found an amazing one but couldn't copy it because he couldn't touch the person. What a waste! Now, that was no longer a problem. Since I can copy in the air, I don't need to rush to copy Xiao Jin's endurance talent. After all, it's not that useful. If I find a high-level cultivation talent at the Linhai base, I can copy it and maybe transform my cultivation talent to a top-tier level. For example, Lin Wanli of the Lin family has a high-level cultivation talent. I don't even need to touch him. As long as I'm close enough, I can copy it. So, Tian decided to skip copying Xiao Jin. Chapter 47. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xiao Jin, you just hang tight here. If you get a chance, keep collecting medicinal stuff and beast blood for me, and dump the blood in the blood pool. Remember to keep the high-level beast blood separate from the medium-level stuff. Before taking off, Tian laid down the law. Got it, master. Xiao Jin replied. Tian had considered bringing Xiao Jin back to the Linhai base, but the beast was huge and fierce, and way too obvious. It wasn't that the Linhai base was totally without beast pets. Some big families had a few ornamental ones. But even medium-level beasts were unusual, like a golden dragon leopard. Bringing Xiao Jin back would just stir up a whole mess of trouble. Besides, Xiao Jin wasn't as strong as him and couldn't protect him anyway. Better to let Xiao Jin chill in Little Chiba Forest. At least that way, he could stockpile beast blood, so he wouldn't have to sweat the shortage later on. Tian packed his gear and grabbed about 100 vials of high-grade beast blood, plus a whole stash of herbs loaded up. Tian strolled out of Little Chiba Forest with Xiao Jin playing escort outside the coastal base. About 8 miles away, a hunting squad was carefully scouting for beasts, and everyone looked on edge. This squad wasn't exactly top tier. The strongest one was only in the late stages of talented martial arts. Boss, I spotted a fighter. Young dude, and he's loaded down with stuff. One of the warriors pointed excitedly to a figure ambling along in the distance. The captain squinted in that direction and saw a young guy, looked like a martial artist for sure. Think we should roll him, Captain? Someone asked. The captain hesitated, mulling it over. He didn't figure Tian would be all that strong. This kid was probably just cutting his teeth in the martial arts scene. Captain, you worried this guy's got connections? We know pretty much all the fighters from the Iron Tooth base. Don't recognize him. Probably some martial artist from Linhai. With the Iron Tooth base behind us, you think we gotta sweat some small-time Linhai martial artist? Come on, Captain, let's do this. As long as we don't get killed, nobody can touch us. Besides, we ain't scored squat all day. Can't head back empty-handed, right? After all the badgering, the captain gritted his teeth. Alright, let's do it. They'd done this before, but they were always careful, picking on the weak. This time was a bit dicey, but if they pulled it off, the payday would be huge. Whoosh, whoosh. The hunting squad rushed forward and quickly surrounded the kid. Dump it all out. The captain growled. The young dude was none other than Tian. He was a little flabbergasted. How did these guys have the stones to try and rob him? Tian, with his spiritual powers, sized them up in a heartbeat. They were all martial artists, about as strong as the old Wind Wolf crew, basically ants. You really trying to rob me? Tian asked, his voice icy. Duh. You wanna get hurt, just keep playing dumb. The captain snarled, the blade in his hand glowing with yuan power. Looks like the captain was about to make a move. That's when Tian's knife flashed. The martial artists couldn't even track his movements. All they felt was searing pain in their hands as their weapons clattered to the ground. Then came the screaming. Arg. My hand's gonna break. I don't want to be crippled. Tian didn't go full-on cripple on them, he just snapped their tendons and shattered a few wrist bones. Back in his old life, that kind of injury would have been permanent. But in this era, a little healing medicine could fix them up, though it'd take a while. These warriors wouldn't be throwing a punch for months. The hunting team captain fought through the agony in his hands and stared at Tian, fear flooding his eyes. He finally realized the kid in front of him wasn't just some run-of-the-mill martial artist. He was way more powerful, and so fast he couldn't even see him move. That kind of fighter was terrifying. Tell me, how's the waterfront base these days? Tian asked. He'd been gone for over a month and wanted the lowdown on the Linhai base ASAP. These guys should know. The hunting team didn't dare refuse and quickly spilled the beans. Tian frowned as he listened. The Linhai base had changed a lot in the past month or so, and there was one bombshell: the Iron Tooth base was gone. Wiped off the map by fierce beasts. Hundreds of thousands dead. Only about 100,000 managed to limp their way to the Linhai base. Of those 100,000, about 10,000 were fighters, and the rest were mostly fighters' families. The regular Joes from the Iron Fang base didn't have a prayer. Now, those 100,000 Iron Tooth folks had set up shop in the Linhai base. Buildings were going up like crazy outside the main walls, and they were throwing up new outer defenses. Looks like the Iron Tooth base was digging in for good. Plus, the Lin family of the Linhai base had cut a deal with the Iron Tooth bigwigs. The Iron Tooth people could officially join the Linhai base, but the Lin family would still be in charge. The Iron Tooth fighters and civilians would have the same rights as the Linhai residents. The Lin family's calling the shots. Tian sneered when he heard that. That was just for show. The Lin family was way outmatched by the Iron Tooth base. How could they boss around those tough fighters and even grandmasters from Iron Tooth? The deal was just to save face. In reality, the real power now belonged to the Iron Tooth honchos. Of course, none of that mattered to Tian. He wasn't playing that game anyway. Before long, he'd be taking Yu to a bigger base, leaving this small coastal town behind. Get lost. Tian barked. The hunting team scrambled away, terrified Tian might change his mind. The rest of the trip was uneventful, and Tian made it back to the Linhai base without any more surprises. As soon as he stepped inside, he noticed the difference: more fighters, more regular folks, and the streets were packed. The place was buzzing. Back home at last. Brother, you're finally back. Yu cried, throwing himself at Tian, his little face full of longing. Chapter 48. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hey sis, you been slacking off lately? Tian ruffled Yu's hair, his voice full of affection. Yu looked up at him, serious as could be. Nope. I've been working hard at my training. I'm strong enough to lift 300 caddies now. 300 caddies in just over a month was crazy progress for someone with medium talent. But Yi Tian knew the beast blood was doing most of the work. Without it, you wouldn't be advancing so fast. Anyone been giving you trouble? Yi Tian asked. Yi shook her head. Nobody's bothering me, but someone's been asking for you, big brother. Who? Yi Tian frowned. I don't know his name, but he was acting real cocky. Sounded like some hotshot from Iron Tooth Base, a guy named Sun Feng, I think. Iron Tooth Base. Sun Feng. Yi Tian filed the name away in his memory, then, after stashing the medicinal herbs and high-grade beast blood inside, he headed out. Alright, come on out. Yi Tian said, addressing a nearby corner. A figure emerged, a warrior from the Wind Wolf hunting squad. Lord Yi Tian. The warrior said, respectful. Take me to your captain. I need to ask him something. Yi Tian wanted intel on this Sun Feng character. He didn't know him, but Sun Feng was already making waves. He needed the lay of the land first, and Wind Wolf probably had some info. Soon, Yi Tian was face to face with Wind Wolf. Yi Tian, you're finally back. Wind Wolf seemed relieved. Yi Tian's absence had him worried something bad had happened. Wind Wolf, I hear some guy named Sun Feng came looking for me after I left. Yi Tian asked point blank. Wind Wolf frowned and nodded. Yeah. Sun Feng's from Iron Tooth Base, one of their top geniuses. He's way ahead of anyone we have here in Linhai. I heard he's got top-tier talent. He's already a mid-level elite martial artist. Ever since Iron Tooth Base merged with Linhai, Sun Feng's been going around challenging our younger fighters. He wipes the floor with most medium talent geniuses, and even some older elite martial artists. Somehow he heard about you and came to pick a fight, but you weren't home, so he split. I see. Yi Tian said, he thought it was a grudge, but it was just a challenge. Yi Tian, be careful. Wind Wolf warned, Sun Feng plays dirty. He's seriously injured everyone he's fought. They're all sidelined for months. Plus, he's got a great martial artist backing him, so even martial artists stronger than Sun Feng are afraid to take him on. They don't want to make an enemy of his backer. I got it. Yi Tian said, waving him off. He understood Wind Wolf's concern. Sun Feng was basically a martial arts trust fund kid. Nobody dared to fight him, so he was used to getting his way. Others might fear Sun Feng, but not him. Even if Sun Feng's great martial artist backer stepped up, he wouldn't be a match. After leaving Wind Wolf, Yi Tian went home. Time to train. Yi Tian had enough high-grade beast blood to fuel his training without worrying about running out. He could feel himself getting stronger every day. The rapid progress was addictive. Nothing was more fun than leveling up his strength, but someone had to come along and interrupt him. Yi Tian. I know you're back. Get out here and fight me. The shout was arrogant as could be. Yi Tian, mid-session, wasn't thrilled about being interrupted. He walked out. Who are you? Yi Tian asked, his tone icy. He had a pretty good idea, but he wanted to hear it anyway. Sun Feng, one of the Iron Tooth Base's 4 geniuses. You're Yi Tian, right? Heard you're also a high-level talent. Let's see who's stronger. Sun Feng puffed out his chest. Yi Tian knew the type. If he refused, the guy wouldn't leave him alone. He might even escalate things, so, he decided to take the fight, beat him soundly, and make sure he never came back. Fighting's fine, but just fighting's boring. What if we raise the stakes a little? Then I might be interested. Sun Feng perked up. Stakes. What do you want to bet? A bronze-level sword skill. You game. A bronze-level sword skill. Sun Feng was all ears. You can never have too many sword skills. Okay, I'm in. I'll put up a bronze-level sword skill too. Sun Feng said quickly, before Yi Tian could back out, but Sun Feng didn't realize that after he agreed, Yi Tian was fighting back a grin. There was a reason he'd picked that particular bet. He knew Sun Feng's talent, name, Sun Feng, cultivation talent, high, sword talent, medium. Sun Feng had a medium sword talent. He had to be a swordsman. A bronze-level sword skill would be a gold mine for him. Someone with Sun Feng's connections had to have one lying around, but you can never have too many. Since we're betting, let's talk about our skills. Sun Feng jumped in, eager to brag about his, mine's called Qingfeng Slash. It boosts your attack power. Master it, and you can increase your attack power by 6 times. Even if you only reach the greater success realm, you can still triple your attack. A sword skill that boosts attack power. Yi Tian got a little antsy. He'd been looking for something like that forever, but never found one. And now it turned out Sun Feng had a bronze-level version. If he got his hands on that, his combat power would skyrocket. My bronze-level knife skill is called Shadow Kill. It increases your speed. At its best, it can make your blade 5 or 6 times faster. It's all about the one-hit kill, and it's almost impossible to block. Yi Tian said. A bronze-level skill that boosts speed. A quick draw technique. Perfect. I don't have one of those. I'm making out like a bandit here. Sun Feng was already counting Yi Tian's skill as his own. Guys that cocky never think they're going to lose. When do you want to do this? Yi Tian asked. I don't have my cheat sheet with me. Plus, fights between elite martial artists tend to get messy. How about we meet tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock at Huiming Square? Fine with me. Yi Tian said. Chapter 49. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Seeing Sun Feng's retreating back, Yi Tian couldn't help but think the guy was a real lucky charm. Not only did he hand over a bronze-level sword skill, but also a high-level cultivation talent. While chatting with Sun Feng, Yi Tian secretly copied his advanced cultivation talent. He'd also considered snagging the medium sword talent, but between the two, the advanced cultivation talent was the clear winner. His own advanced cultivation talent was already maxed out, practically on the verge of becoming a top-tier talent. Copying the medium sword talent wouldn't guarantee an upgrade, but copying the high cultivation talent was a sure path to becoming top-level. He knew what was more important. Back inside, Yi Tian began integrating the copied advanced cultivation talent. This time, the process was painless, just a little sweat. Yi Tian cultivation talent. Top, speed talent, top, knife talent, medium, shadow talent, elementary, healing talent, top, strength talent, high. Seeing his cultivation talent upgraded, Yi Tian finally let out a whoop of excitement. With a top-level talent, reaching the Grandmaster realm was practically guaranteed. With a high-level talent, there was only a small chance of reaching it, and even after achieving it, further progress would be difficult. But top level was different. Reaching the Grandmaster level in the early, middle, or even late stages would be easy. Only when trying to reach the next realm would he hit a wall, and even then, there'd be a decent chance to break through. Top-level cultivation talent means I don't have to sweat the small stuff before Grandmaster. Yi Tian tested his new talent and found it was twice as effective as the high-level version. Combined with the intermediate Yuan Force Forging Body Method and high-level Fierce Beast Blood, the overall effect should triple. After all, the higher the talent, the better the absorption of Fierce Beast Blood. Based on this, Yi Tian was confident he could reach the peak of elite martial artist status within 2 months. We're talking 100,000 pounds of physical strength. The next day, before 10 a.m., Yi Tian arrived at Huiming Square. Huiming Plaza was a big shopping area at the waterfront base, and also had an entrance to the black market. It was packed, mostly with martial artists. Yi Tian, you made it. Sun Feng greeted him with a grin. What's with the crowd? Yi Tian asked, surprised. Usually, it wasn't this busy. All these martial artists must have something to do with Sun Feng. Oh, I just hyped up our little exchange. Sun Feng said casually. He was chasing fame, and if he didn't actively pursue it, he'd be challenging people left and right. It fed his ego. Even if he was picking on the warriors of Linhai base, he didn't care. In his opinion, the geniuses of the Linhai base were a joke, nowhere near the standards of the Iron Tooth base. Defeating the Linhai base's geniuses and smacking down its warriors would help the Iron Fang base control the region. He'd already dealt with the other local hotshots, leaving only Yi Tian. This fight had to be a spectacle. Let's see the bets. Sun Feng said quickly, worried Yi Tian might not actually have a bronze-level sword skill. Here, Yi Tian said, producing the Shadow Kill bronze-level technique manual. Sun Feng pulled out his Qin Feng /manual. They briefly checked each other's manuals. You couldn't just steal a technique by glancing at it, they were too complex. Each illustration contained a piece of the bronze-level technique's mystery. You had to constantly refer to the manual to master it. That's why creating technique manuals was so difficult, and why they weren't everywhere. The manuals are real. Let's do this. Yi Tian and Sun Feng stood in the center of Huiming Square as everyone else cleared out. The surrounding warriors started gossiping. Who's Yi Tian? Is he an elite martial artist too? I heard Yi Tian has a high-level cultivation talent and he's reached the elite level, but he's been keeping a low profile. Yi Tian and Sun Feng both have high-level cultivation talents, but Sun Feng's older and stronger. This should be a no-brainer, right? Sun Feng's got this. He has a talent for swordsmanship and he's mastered Qin Feng /. That's triple the attack power. Someone with 50,000 pounds of strength can unleash 150,000 pounds of force. No elite martial artist at Linhai base can touch him, and the great martial artists are too proud to get involved. No one can beat Sun Feng. Yeah, Yi Tian's chances are slim. Almost everyone expected Sun Feng to win, except for a small group, the Wind Wolf hunting squad. Captain, Lord Yi Tian has a shot, right? One of the squad members asked quietly. Maybe, but it'll be a tough fight. Sun Feng can attack like a great martial artist, and while Yi Tian's fast and has strong sword techniques, it's not much of an advantage. It'll be a close call at best. Wind Wolf guessed. He based his prediction on what he knew of Yi Tian, never imagining his true strength had already surpassed a great martial artist. Soon, the fight began. Whoosh! Sun Feng blurred, rushing at Yi Tian with his blade raised. A wind blade shot toward Yi Tian, packed with 300,000 pounds of Yuanli-infused force. It wasn't particularly fast, but almost impossible to dodge for anyone below the great martial artist level. But then the impossible happened. Yi Tian vanished. The wind blade slammed into the ground where he'd been standing, leaving a 10-meter-long crack and shattering the paving stones. Oh! Sun Feng realized something was wrong, but before he could react, a blade was at his neck. What? Sun Feng felt a chill. He hadn't seen Yi Tian move, hadn't noticed him get so close. Terrifying. Sun Feng knew what that meant. If Yi Tian wanted, he could end him in an instant. He has to have an insane speed talent. Sun Feng realized. Chapter 50. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Throw in the towel. Yi Tian, knife pressed to Sun Feng's throat, repeated the question. I throw in the towel. Sun Feng conceded, defeated. He was just an elite martial artist. His attacks, boosted by his sword skills, could pack the punch of a great martial artist, but his defense remained at the elite level. He couldn't rely on his Yuan force body to stop Yi Tian's blade. Plus, the most vulnerable spot, defenseless against a Yuan weapon. Hand over the bronze-level sword technique, the Qin Feng /cheat. Yi Tian demanded, holding out his hand. Sun Feng's face turned ashen, glaring at Yi Tian. You really want to take my bronze-level sword skills? You'll regret this. A bronze-level sword skill wasn't cheap. Any martial artist without a knack for swords might shrug it off, but a swordsman valued it immensely, even willing to drop a fortune to acquire one. Sun Feng acted like he didn't care about it, but it wasn't just the money, it was the humiliation. he'd been thoroughly embarrassed, losing not only his own face, but also that of the iron-tooth base. A supposed genius from a medium-sized base getting trounced by a nobody from a small one. He'd be a laughingstock. His family would lose face too, he seethed with hatred for Yi Tian. Now. Yi Tian's voice was sharp. Here, Sun Feng tossed the Qin Feng/manual, then shot a murderous glare at Yi Tian, a silent promise of payback. Yi Tian, now in possession of the Qin Feng/cheat, was in high spirits. He wasn't worried about Sun Feng's threats. If Sun Feng actually tried anything, he'd be the one regretting it. As the fight concluded, the crowd dispersed, buzzing about what they'd witnessed. Tomorrow, the whole Linhai base would be dissecting the duel between Yi Tian and Sun Feng, and Yi Tian's name would be on everyone's lips. He'd become famous overnight. This was Yi Tian's moment. Yi Tian. Wind Wolf and his crew approached. Wind Wolf, good to see you. Yi Tian greeted with a smile. Yi Tian, watch your back. Sun Feng's a sore loser. You made him eat dirt big time, he might come after you. Don't sweat it. I have a plan. Yi Tian nodded. Wind Wolf, having offered his warning, didn't press further. There wasn't much else he could do. After leaving Wind Wolf and the others, Yi Tian headed home to delve into the Qin Feng/. Being a bronze-level sword skill, the Qin Feng/ was complex. Even with his average sword talent, Yi Tian could only hope to master it. Just like Sun Feng, reaching the highest level would be a Herculean task, requiring either a breakthrough in swordsmanship or an improvement in his natural talent. From now on, Qin Feng/ was added to Yi Tian's training regimen. As Yi Tian trained, word of his victory spread like wildfire throughout the Linhai base. He defeated Sun Feng in seconds. A feat rarely accomplished by even a great martial artist. Yet, Yi Tian had pulled it off. At the Lin family residence, Lin Wanli listened to the reports from his kinsman. His first reaction was disbelief. Yi Tian's speed is astonishing. I underestimated his potential. Maybe he has medium or even high-speed talent. Lin Wanli mused. With such talent, Yi Tian had already surpassed elite martial artists, and could contend with even great martial artists. Unfortunately, the Sun family is not to be trifled with. Only time will tell if Yi Tian can survive their retribution. Lin Wanli sighed. Yi Tian was the rising star of the Linhai base, and normally he would offer protection against the Sun family, but he didn't dare. The Sun family was far more powerful than his own. Though they lacked a grandmaster, they boasted 2 top-tier great martial artists, and 8 great martial artists in total. Those 2 were far stronger than him. He'd sparred with one before and been defeated in a single move. Many members of the Sun family possessed sword talent, thanks to their tradition of marrying within the family, maintaining the purity of their bloodline. Rumor had it that inbreeding led to many Sun family members being born with mental deficiencies or disabilities, and these individuals were secretly eliminated. The Sun family, with its ruthlessness, would not let Yi Tian off the hook easily. Within the Iron Tooth bases, the Sun family ranked among the top 5. How could the Lin family possibly compete? One great martial artist could wipe out the entire Lin family. Meanwhile, at the Sun residence, Sun Feng raged in his room, smashing furniture, and even beating his subordinates to vent his frustration. Feng, a middle-aged man walked in, surveyed the wreckage, frowned, and said, still stewing over the loss. This was Sun Feng's father, Sun Qinghe, a great martial artist in his own right, with a similar talent for swordsmanship, which gave him the power of a strong late-stage great martial artist. Father, Sun Feng calmed down, approached Sun Qinghe, and bowed his head. It was just one defeat. Don't let it get to you. Sun Qinghe said. Father, I want Yi Tian dead. Can you help me? Sun Feng pleaded. He knew his own limits. He couldn't kill Yi Tian himself, and he couldn't mobilize the Sun family's great martial artists. So, he had to rely on his father. No. Sun Qinghe refused. Why? Sun Feng asked, confused. Yi Tian might have cultivation talent, but as long as he didn't grow up, he was nothing but an ant before the Sun family. If Sun Qinghe intervened, Yi Tian would surely die. The timing is bad. Sun Qinghe explained. We've joined the Linhai base, but many people here still see us as outsiders. Our foothold is unstable. If we kill the Linhai base's rising star, even if the Lin family doesn't retaliate, what will the other martial artists think? They might make trouble for us, hindering our family's progress. So, we just ignore Yi Tian. Sun Feng was reluctant. No. Yi Tian embarrassed the Sun family, we won't let him off the hook. But we can't touch him now. In a few months, once our family is firmly established in the Linhai base, then we'll deal with Yi Tian. Sun Qinghe promised. Fine, let Yi Tian live a little longer. Sun Feng said grimly. A few months was nothing. Neither Sun Feng nor Sun Qinghe could have foreseen that Yi Tian would become as strong as a peak great martial artist. Time marched on, and calm reigned over the coastal base. The Sun family isn't bothering me. Yi Tian, after more than 10 days of training, found it strange.